Who's the monster?
Sure, Joe Deckelmeyer's Screen Rant. First of all, Alaqua, I loved Echo. It is a fantastic show. But the first question I have for you is, when you first got the role of Echo, when you joined for Hawkeye, when you auditioned for the role, how much did you know about the character? And did you know that the character was going to get her own spinoff?
I was not aware of Echo when I got the role of Echo. And I found out that I was getting my own show in the middle of filming Hawkeye. I didn't really know too much about Echo until they told me, and I was like, oh gosh, I better study. You know, I read a little bit of the comic book, but I worked a lot with the director and we developed her character a lot and we studied lines throughout the entirety of the process. But yeah, I'm very grateful for all the support from my coworkers that I got along the way of portraying Maya or Echo.
That's incredible. Now, the stunts, the action in Echo is incredible. It's some of the best action and grounded action that we've seen in the MCU. With your experience in stunt training and as a personal trainer, did that help you with your experience performing your own stunts as you took part in so many fight scenes and action sequences?
That absolutely helped me big time when it came to the stunt work. I had stunt training about 5 days before we started filming and pre-production. Once production started, I had no time, but we had about 5 days a week. They helped me so much with the choreography. I helped me learn new fighting styles, jabs, kicks, cool kinds of combos and kicks. The choreography was hard to memorize, especially with Daredevil scene. It was such a long choreography, but I wish I could say I did every single stunt, but I did do most of them, but it was very fun.
Incredible. Now, Sidney Freeland and Katarona Mackenzie are incredible directors of Echo series. Now, what did their directing style add to Echo?
Both of them are pretty hands-on directors, which is so great because I really love that hands-on type of visualization and explaining how scenes are portrayed in their head. The directors both made sure that the signs were visible in frame when we were filming. We didn't make sure that the camera was too close so that you'd miss the sign language. And they both really wanted to understand the deaf culture aspect of how important it was to have the signing in frame. So I really liked their signing style, and they were very educated in the art of directing. So it was really great having them.
That's incredible. Now, the series, speaking of that, the series is groundbreaking in its representation of indigenous culture and the deaf community. What does that mean to you to be on the forefront of that representation, especially being a part of a giant franchise like the MCU?
Oh my gosh. I still feel like it's so much pressure because honestly, I'm such a new actor and now I have a lot of pressure going on in my head too, because I have a lot of communities to advocate for. I have the amputee community, the indigenous community, the deaf community, and being a woman and Native American as well. So I'm so excited to be able to have this platform to open doors for more people to come in. And hopefully that will be able to allow us to tell our own stories. We can invite diversity into Hollywood more. This is just the start of an amazing journey.
Yes, absolutely. Just the start. Now, your character, Maya Lopez, embodies resilience, strength, and complexity. How did you relate personally to Maya, and how did playing her impact you?
She is definitely very resilient, and I just learned so much about her as a character. We both have that resilience. Her childhood, of course, is very traumatic and complicated. She was taken from her biological family in Oklahoma and was with her adopted uncle in New York City. She had a terrible, dangerous life of crime in that moment in her life too. So she really went through a lot, but she has that resilience that she needs. I feel like I have that toughness as well. I am an amputee and I had a lot of surgeries related to my amputation as well. So I spent a lot of time in the hospital growing up as a child, and that was tough, but I did have a very loving and supportive family at home. And that's where my resilience comes into play. And I think that I can relate that with Maya.
That's incredible. Now, how does Maya feel about the Kingpin, a guy that she knows is a murderer, being in a position of political power? And do you think she could let that go?
Oh gosh, no, I don't. I don't think that she would like that idea. I think it's a terrible idea. He's such a dirty crook, you know, he's got a lot of things going on. I don't think him running a position of political power would be a good idea.
I also agree. Now, can you talk about working with the Choctaw Nation to really bring the series of Echo to life and show that representation on screen for the MCU?
I loved working with them. It was amazing how the MCU was so open and willing to collaborate with the Choctaw Nation. You know, I remember the first day of filming, the very, very first day, it was during the spring. And I remember it was a cool breeze. It was a very nice spring day because it was eventually going to get so hot and sweaty in Georgia. I had so many layers I was going to be acting in. But we had the first day of filming, we had the Choctaw Nation come and have a ceremony. And they had a ginormous blessing with their dances and their cultural dances and traditions. And they also had a blanket ceremony as well. And it was just a beautiful blessing to have on the first day of production. We also were able to show the representation with their beadwork in the superhero costume. We collaborated with them on everything, on their language. We invited Choctaw consultants to make sure that their language was pronounced correctly when it was used on screen. And really the collaboration was just so authentic. And it was very cool to see that.
That's amazing. Now, I actually wanted to talk about the costume because incredible artisans worked on that costume to bring it to life. Can you talk about some of the detail that eagle-eyed MCU fans may have not caught that are a part of that costume?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing the details, like there's a sun detail and diamond patterns on the costume, and those are representative of the Choctaw culture as well. You know, it has to do with growth and culture and change, and the diamonds mean there's a diamondback, you know, the rattlesnake, those are representative of the rattlesnake and how they were very much respect the rattlesnake and how powerful of a creature it is and its venom that it has. So they look at that creature as a very powerful animal. So there's little details that it puts, you know, those diamonds, the sun, the beadwork, that's all integrated into the costume and all made by indigenous authentic artists. So all those little details really means a lot. You know, I probably had 8 to 10 costumes fitting for that costume alone. And I remember feeling amazed every time I put the costume on when we added more and more layers. It was just so amazing and cool.
That's so cool. That is so cool. Now, I spoke with Amy Rardin not terribly long ago, and she kind of talked about wanting to have a season 2 and kind of teased it a little bit. It's been over 2 years since you debuted in Hawkeye. Have you spoken with anybody about in Marvel about potentially coming back for Phase 5 or beyond? Because people love Echo and they want to see Echo again.
I can't say much about it, but I'm really, really hoping it's going to happen.
That's awesome. I hope it happens too. Now, in your perspective, what's more likely to happen? Echo showing up in Avengers 5 or Echo showing up in Defenders Season 2?
Oh my gosh, I don't know about that. It would just be a dream come true to be involved in either. So hopefully either.
That's amazing. Now, with this series, you're not just a part of superhero storytelling, but also cultural storytelling. How do you hope Echo influences perception and conversation around diversity and inclusion?
I hope that the show is just a starting point for Hollywood and people to say, oh my gosh, this is very different than any other ASL or show we've seen. It has ASL in it. There's an amputee that's represented in it, all these other diversities. And hopefully they can look at me and, I don't know, we'll have a breakthrough of diversity in other roles in Hollywood. I think that would be great.
That would be awesome. Now, what are you hoping to explore with the character of Maya Lopez in season or in the future of the MCU?
I would hope that she's able to cross paths with other superheroes as well. Like, for example, the Avengers, like you mentioned, that would be a dream come true if she was able to meet any of the Avengers, or even if she was in Daredevil season 2. We just don't know. I'd like to see any of those possibilities.
Oh, I would love to see those possibilities as well. Now, Echo brings a new dimension to the MCU. Can you share a scene or moment from the series that you're particularly proud of?
Oh my gosh, there's so many moments to be proud of. I'm definitely proud of the intense scenes that I have with Vincent, because Vincent, he is just a top tier actor, and working with him in front of the camera is just an amazing, emotional, intense experience, and definitely challenging. But I made it through acting alongside a top tier actor, but I think that's something I learned about myself, that we can do it.
Absolutely. Now, even outside of the MCU, what bucket list roles would you want to play next?
I usually, of course, have played bad guy roles. And I think I want to explore different options of different roles. I love horror. I've always loved horror movies growing up. So I wouldn't mind being in a horror thriller movie kind of role. So I think that would be on my bucket list of my next roles.
That's incredible. Now, with Maya Lopez, at least in the first season of Echo, what did you want to bring to that role that went beyond the page?
Oh my gosh, this is a good question. I think I wanted to show that I wanted Maya to open up more to her family and her community. She is so closed off and securely closed off. I want her to open up to her family. I wish that she could show that more, especially, she had to be so stoic the entire time in Echo. I understand that that's her character. She's gone through so much, but I think it would be nice to bring some more smiles to her.
Now, speaking of the family, I think that was one of the most important dynamics in Echo season 1, is her dynamic with her grandfather and with Henry, and also with Bonnie. What would you like to explore with those relationships going forward when we get a season 2, or if we get a season 2?
Maya's family, I wouldn't mind if they all went to New York City and all got revenge on those people that have hurt them, and also use the powers of the ancestors that they have. I think that'd be a cool storyline.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you talked about crossing over with possible other MCU characters. Are there any villains in particular that you'd like to see Echo match up against?
Probably the Green Goblin. That would be pretty cool. I think I'd like to face the Green Goblin.
Incredible. Alaqua, thank you so much for your time. You're absolutely incredible. The series is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye.